Good evening. Welcome to the State of Business on Art Television with me, Tirantha Gunawardana. Let's take a look at today's headlines first. Government relying too much on local funding to bridge budget deficit, says Senior Deputy President of the National Chamber of Commerce. Japan pledges 48 million rupees for Colombo Light Rail project. Now let's take a look at today's top story. The National Chamber of Commerce held a press conference today on the 2019 budget proposal which was presented last week. Speaking at the event, Senior Deputy President of the National Chamber of Commerce, Nantika Buddhipala, expressed the following on the government relying on local sources of funding to bridge the budget deficit.
We observe that the government is resorting to pretty much into the local sources of funding. It's quite obvious. We cannot maybe go into the exchange markets. Now, the amount that we need to pay as interest is one of the issues. There again, when you have huge demand for the foreign currency in the marketplace, then that might get into the worst situation where the exchange rates can get decelerated and depreciated. So maybe due to that reason, quite obviously the government is looking at local sources of funding to bridge the budget deficit.
Also speaking at the event, founder and partner of Gajma and Company, N.R. Gajendran, expressed the following on consistency of the policy framework.
As articulated by the other commentators, one important factor will be on the consistency of the policy and the implementation. What happens by and large, very often in this country, the policy is not consistent. So it is not on different, the major players, political players must come together on a policy consideration. There can be examples cited. For example, on the public sector employment, because the cost of public sector salary is going to be 1 trillion. So what is the policy on public sector employment, for example? And all the major players should have a congruence on the policy. Like in the case of, in the 60s, if you see Korea, they had a trade policy. Whatever the government came in, they followed and executed the trade policy. And they have become almost the 4th largest economy in Asia. So that policy consistency should be there. We can give examples of where stop-start policy is going, or the policy is introduced by one regime, is reversed by the other regime. So the consistency, and foreign investor also wants to know consistency of the policy consideration. Methodologies, the implementation can vary. Second factor which will be crucial for the success of this budget, for any budget, is the implementation side. The bureaucracy has to be empowered. They must act independently and they must be empowered so that they are able to take responsibility and accountable. The implementation side is with the bureaucracy, the public sector. And many of them maybe for various reasons are reluctant to make decisions.
A concessionary loan agreement for approximately 48 billion rupees was signed yesterday between the government of Sri Lanka and the Japan International Cooperation Agency for engineering services and construction of a light rail transit line between Malabey and Colombo Fort. The loan will finance Sri Lanka's first rail-based electrified urban mass rapid transit line. It will serve to connect Colombo's commercial hub with the administrative capital and significantly reduce travel time in the most congested transport corridor in the country and the only major corridor currently not supported by railway. The Malabey Fort LRT line has a total length of approximately 16 kilometers with 16 stations. The stations are placed at frequently accessed locations and include Malabey IT Park, Battarmulla, Rajagiriya, Kota Road Railway Station, National Hospital up to current Fort Petah Railway Station. The entire rail track and stations will be on elevated viaducts to minimize requirement of land acquisition. At peak travel times in the morning and evening, trains are planned to run every 2 to 3 minutes. Each 4-carriage train will have a passenger capacity of over 800, which could be increased by adding more carriages in future when necessary. With a top speed of 80 km per hour, travel time from Malabey to Fort will be approximately 30 minutes with the LRT. The delegation of German industry and commerce in Sri Lanka will be organized in the first ever German country pavilion at Build SL 2019 Housing and Construction Expo, which will be held from the 22nd to the 24th of March. Speaking during the press conference regarding the pavilion, Chief Delegate of the German Industry and Commerce in Sri Lanka, Andreas Hergenrother, expressed the following.
I'm very delighted to announce today that we will have the first German pavilion on the construction fair Build Sri Lanka, which will take place from the 22nd to the 24th of March. It will be the largest country pavilion in the entire show. So our pavilion is situated in the Hall E from the 22nd to the 24th of April, showcasing more than 20 German brands and products and solutions. You see the brands behind us, and some of the company representatives are here today with us. I will introduce them shortly. And the product range or the solution range is very wide. So we have from the very sophisticated building technology, intelligent and smart building here represented by Siemens, up to construction materials, construction chemicals represented by BASF, to flooring and ceiling solutions represented here by Chronotex, OVA and Parketfreund, to also building material insulation materials represented by Würth, and also many other tools that are represented by Würth. But also you see here on the back side companies that represent kitchen manufacturing. We have civil engineering companies, very specialized civil engineering companies like Ludwig Pfeiffer that are executing here large projects in the water sector in cooperation with Vinci and others. And it is very interesting, I think, to be here and to participate in the pavilion.
Speaking further, Andreas Hergenrother elaborated upon what the pavilion's focus would be.
The pavilion focuses a lot on future topics such as energy efficiency in buildings and also intelligent and smart solutions. Therefore, we will also have a press conference at the pavilion and conference on the future of the construction of buildings. We will discuss three major topics. One is sustainable planning and engineering, and we have here, I'm very happy here, an architect from Germany who has experience in Asia for more than 15 years, and I think your total record is about 25 or 30 years, and you have been really specialized also in different fields of planning that are really related also to these topics.
It's time for a short commercial break. Do stay tuned for more news after this. Welcome back. Speaking during an event held in Colombo this morning, CEO of IFS, Darren Roos, elaborated upon the role Sri Lanka plays in terms of overall revenue generated for IFS.
Today we've had a great chat about the success that IFS has had. We've grown our total revenue in 2018 23%, our license revenue 22%, our cloud revenue up over 300% year on year. And Sri Lanka plays a really important part in that. So we've grown our headcount in Sri Lanka from 1,000 people a year ago. This year we'll hit 1,600 people. And without the team in Sri Lanka, we simply wouldn't be able to do what we do. So there's a huge capability here that helps to support our global customers through our global support offering. We have a large team here that helps to develop our technology by writing new innovative code, leveraging new capabilities like artificial intelligence and augmented reality, many other cool technologies, as well as a team that does the implementations of our technology. And those people travel all over the world helping to deliver success with IFS.
Speaking further, Darren Roos also explained why IFS chose Sri Lanka as an operations hub.
The decision to come to Sri Lanka was made 20 odd years ago, long before I came along. But since I've come to IFS, in my first visit here, it was very clear that what we're able to get in Sri Lanka is a really robust talent pool of young, hungry people who want to be successful. And that's the recipe for success. Can we find a place where there is good infrastructure, where there is good education, and the people that we can recruit are hungry to really do something? And that's what Sri Lanka really brings to IFS.
A delegation from Michelin, the French tyre manufacturing giant, met with the BOI chairman Hemasiri Fernando and Director General of the BOI Champika Malalgoda recently. Eric Licor, Group Director for Public Affairs of Michelin, was accompanied by Nandita Khurana, Zone Head Legal Africa, India, Middle East and Director Public Affairs and Government Affairs, India, and Kirti Bandara, CFO Executive Director of Camso Lodestar. French Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Eric Lavertu, and Economic Counselor of the Embassy of France, Hervé Sanelli, also took part in the discussions. Chairman of the BOI, Hemasiri Fernando, was assisted by Director General of the BOI, Champika Malalgoda, Director Media and Publicity, Dilip S. Samarasinghe, and Director Promotions, Nilupul De Silva. By acquiring Camso Lodestar, the leader in manufacture of solid rubber tires in the country, which is a BOI enterprise, Michelin are now established in the island and are set to start their operations through that company. In more news, Foreign Minister Tilak Marapana says that the prime duty of Sri Lankan defence attaches assigned to Sri Lankan missions overseas is to serve the country and its people, and that they should be mindful of the fact that they are there to serve and not to be served. Foreign Minister Marapana made these remarks attending the certificate awarding ceremony of the intensive training program for military officers who would be assigned as defence attaches advisors in Sri Lankan missions overseas, organised by the Bandaranaike International Diplomatic Training Institute, the training arm of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The certificate awarding ceremony was held at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs last Friday, and participating military officers received their certificates from Foreign Minister Tilak Marapana upon successful completion of the training program. The intensive training program, which was conducted at the BIDTI from 18 February to 7 March 2019, was attended by 30 officers from the Sri Lanka Army, Sri Lanka Air Force and the Sri Lanka Navy, who would be assigned as defence attaches advisors in Sri Lankan missions overseas in the near future. This was the first time that the BIDTI conducted a training program for prospective defence attaches advisors of Sri Lanka. Stocks ended in the red today. More on that after this short commercial break. Welcome back. Trading at the Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a negative note today. The All Share Price Index dropped 33.52 points to close at 5,646.78, and the S&P SL20 dropped 22.44 points to close at 2,795.88. The turnover was 390.6 million rupees and 17.4 million shares were traded. Up next are today's forex rates. And that's all the news we have for you today. Do join us again tomorrow at the same time for more of the very latest. Until then, take care. Good night.